What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Sunday night's late night agenda. These days I have to try and figure out what day it is. Honestly, it's just one day is just blending into another, into this big blur at this moment in time. But yes, it is Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. There is breaking news to talk about tonight. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I'll go through it in more detail as the chat begins to fill up and people get their notifications. Let me start off tonight's stream by giving a massive congratulations to Curtis Jones for winning the FA Cup Budweiser goal of the season for that magnificent strike against Everton. I think it was his first senior goal for the Reds. I know he scored a penalty, but I think that was his first senior goal. But either way, what a magnificent strike that was, and congratulations to him on a well-deserved award, and let's hope it's the first of many in what looks like a very promising career for young Curtis Jones. So absolutely delighted to see him win that award, and he seemed very grateful for all the votes as well. He put up a post thanking everybody who did vote for him for that award. So look, how are we all doing? I hope you're all enjoying the good weather. I hope you're having a nice weekend. Football is still ongoing, obviously, with the European competitions. The Scottish League is back. The Reds won't be in action until the Community Shield on, August 29th or something like that. But we are going to be heading off to Evian for that training camp as well. So Klopp does love heading over to Evian, but there's loads for us to get through, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely a load to get through. I'm going to be talking about... Let me give you a rundown of what we're going to be discussing tonight, actually, because I put out a bit of an agenda myself for this stream. I thought I'd start off by going through the possible incomings to Liverpool Football Club. Then we'll look at some outgoings. Then I want to talk about the whole financial situation. And I want to finish up with a little segment about the new Nike shirt. And I hope that's okay with you guys. And of course, I'll dip in and out of the chat as well. And if you're watching this back later on, please do let me know your thoughts on anything that we discuss. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button and give the stream a thumbs up as well. A little bit of housekeeping before we started. As you can see, I've got my Anfield Agenda t-shirt on. If you guys want to buy yourself one, there is a link in the description. And also, as you can see from the image, I say behind me, just to my... this side? I always get it wrong. This side. Nope. I'm giving up. As you can see, the memberships are open as well. But this reverse camera thing, I always get it wrong. So it's this side, isn't it? Nope. So then, this side? Yes, this side. There you go. It only took me like 6 attempts or something to get that right. But there we go. Memberships are open. Hit that blue join button. Become a member of the channel. You get the Anfield Agenda emojis. You get access to our Discord group. You get the Anfield Agenda badge beside your name. And lots of other bits and pieces as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about transfers. And let me start off with one that isn't going to happen. And that is Jamal Lewis. So as you guys know, Liverpool did submit a bid of around £10 million to Norwich for Jamal Lewis. And that was instantly rejected by Norwich, who came back and said that they wanted at least 20 million quid. Now, all of our beliefs seem to be that we probably would go back and try and renegotiate and get a deal somewhere, maybe 12 to 15 million, something that kind of suits all parties. But no, Liverpool did have options A, B, C and D on this list. We spoke about possibly Lloyd Kelly, and then we spoke about the guy who we have agreed a fee for, and that is, of course, the left back from Olympiacos, Tsimikas, I believe you pronounced this gentleman's name. And it's believed that that fee is going to be around 12 million quid. It has been agreed between the two clubs, and a medical is going to take place in the coming days. If you don't believe me on this one, you can check out Paul Joyce, Melissa Reddy. All the reliable sources have been tweeting about this one. This is pretty much deal done, ladies and gentlemen. Now, personal terms. Yes, personal terms still have to be agreed on this one, but I can't see it being a problem. I'm not going to lie and say I know a whole load about this guy. From what I've heard, and a few people that I've spoken to and messaged about him that have watched a lot more of him than I would have, they rate him quite highly. But he is going to be coming in to fight for a place against, in my opinion, one of, if not the best left back in Europe, in Andy Robertson. And what more do we know about this? Well, it's been reported that on Thursday, when Olympiacos were in Wolverhampton to take them on in the Europa League, it's reported that Michael Edwards met with the general manager of Olympiacos to thrash out this deal. And as I said, it looks like just under 12 million quid, something like £11.75 million, which again, in this market, is a pretty decent fee. Basically, it's our Dejan Lovren money, if you want to look at it that way. So this one is all but done, ladies and gentlemen, barring again a mad hiccup at the end or something showing up in a medical or something like that. I can see this one being agreed and done and dusted. But as with any transfer, until he's leaning, holding the shirt, you kind of just take it with a pinch of salt and wait to see what happens. We've been bitten a few times as Liverpool fans with medicals that have been failed and deals that have collapsed at the last minute. This one doesn't look like it's going to. This one looks nailed on. And it looks like an exciting prospect and somebody who can come in and genuinely give Robbo a push and give Robbo a rest, most importantly, when he needs to, because we know that Jimmy Milner can drop in at left back. We know that we have players like Adam Lewis at the club who could potentially go on and become a very good player, but he's not there just yet, and he is coming back from injury. And that moves me on to Yasser Laruchi as well, who had turned down a 5-year deal at the club, and he looks like he's going to be moving on. So we knew the Reds needed to go out and get a left back, and we have acted swiftly in going out and getting Tsimikas. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I think the T is silent, from Olympiacos for 11.75 million quid. So let me dip into the chat before I move on to talk about more targets and see how you guys are all feeling. Liverpool, you never walk alone, said Tsimikas is a great signing, great strength, speed and work rate. I did see a couple of Champions League statistics with him against Robbo, and he does seem to like a cross. I think he averages something like 2.2 crosses a game in the Champions League group stages, and loves a burst forward, so it looks like he will fit right in at Liverpool. Delwyn said Monday or Tuesday for the medical. Craig and the coaching staff we trust, said Scotty. Absolutely, and I was a little bit surprised how quickly this one came together, because I, like everybody else, was fully expecting Liverpool to go back in and try and put in a second offer for Jamal Lewis, but they didn't want to go to 20 million quid, and if Norwich were steadfast in their belief that that's what the player's worth, then Liverpool weren't going there, and Michael Edwards went and got the job done. As we do, we act swiftly and we don't fuck about when it turns out that we want to go and get a player. So well done to Michael Edwards and the recruitment staff on this one, and look, we'll welcome the lad properly when he signs, when he's holding up the shirt and all that, but it looks like a very good piece of business from Liverpool Football Club yet again. People often talk about value, and people say sometimes we penny pinching, but there are good value deals to be had, and yet again this looks like the Reds have gone out there and done a very clever piece of business. But again, it all remains to be seen. But let's see what else you guys think on this one. How much will he cost? 11.75 million, Travis. 11.75 million pound. We need Thiago. I know, I'm going to get on to Thiago now in a second, I promise you. There is a little bit of stuff on Thiago. There has been a little bit of talk. Right, what else we got? There was somebody else here talking about Tsimikas, so let me get back to that one. Where is it? I'm going to get through as many of your comments as I can, ladies and gentlemen. Tsimikas is one hell of a left back. I was watching his videos. The dude can play. That's come from Fernando. Thank you, Fernando, for that one. And MS2 has said, and this has been confirmed as well, I've seen it on Sky Sports News earlier, Atletico Madrid have confirmed that 2 of their players have tested positive for the coronavirus. So I don't know how that affects things for the Champions League moving forward, but it is what it is. But it is a fact. Love to see us get Ben White. I'll talk about Ben White actually before I go on to talk about Thiago. Ben White doesn't look like it's going to happen, and here's why. As you know, he was on loan at Leeds for the previous couple of seasons, and Leeds have had 2 bids turned down by Brighton. One was about 18.5 million quid, and the second offer was 22 million, and that as well was turned down. So if Leeds are offering that much money and Brighton aren't willing to do business, Liverpool aren't going to go in and pay any more than that for somebody who could come in to be a 3rd or 4th choice centre-back, particularly when we have Sepp van den Berg, Kylian Hoover and the likes of those lads developing now. I would have loved Ben White to have come into Liverpool Football Club, but at somewhere around 15 million quid, and if they're turning down 22 million, they either have no intention of selling or they want a ridiculously high fee. But either way, it doesn't look like we'll be getting Ben White this summer. If, he would have been settled at Leeds. He knows he can play at Leeds. He knows he'll be in the Premier League with Leeds. So even with that 22 million offer, it wasn't enough to tempt Brighton. So it looks like he'll either be staying where he is, but very unlikely he'll be coming to the Reds, unfortunately. And I would have loved to have seen us get Ben White, because he's a very good centre-back, still very young, loves to carry the ball forward, can pick out a pass, would have fit the Jurgen Klopp mould perfectly, I think. But hey, it is what it is, and we move on. Ronan said, hey Craig, to know when the away kit is meant to be out. I heard somebody say next week, Ronan, but I have no idea, mate. I couldn't tell you with 100% accuracy, but I've seen a couple of people on social media suggesting next week. Puskas is a god said, hey Craig, saw you talking about depression on the last stream. Just hope you know we're always here to support you if you're ever going through tough times. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And it's because of you guys that I am back. Do you know what I mean? If I didn't know I would get such support from you guys, I probably wouldn't have chanced coming back on, because I'm still not at 100%, mate, but I'm getting there and the medication is slowly starting to take effect. But thank you again for your kind words. The support you guys give me has always been amazing. You know I love you for it, so thank you very much. Right, let's move on. Thiago, because there is a load for us to get through tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so sit back and relax. Thiago. So the latest I have on Thiago, and again this comes from the man that I believe is closest to any potential deal here, and that is Christian Falk of Bild. He is very, very close to what goes on at Bayern Munich. Now, he was speaking on the LFC Transfer Room podcast, and this is what he had to say. He said, I know Klopp is interested in Thiago, but just like Werner, it's not so easy to get players at the moment. I think he's hoping that Liverpool have the money to buy him, but there's no offer at the moment. Bayern said he can't go for less than £27 million. Klopp believes in Thiago. There is a connection. We know Klopp placed Thiago's name on the board. There's not many players at the level of Thiago in midfield, so they have to do something in midfield. Thiago's first option is, of course, Liverpool. So quite plainly there, Christian Falk is spelling out a couple of things. One, Klopp wants the player, and two, the player wants Liverpool. So it seems that once again this deal may come down to finances. Now, I'm going to go on to talk about the finances of the club a little bit later on in the stream, but I am and will be very surprised if Jurgen Klopp wants Thiago and we cannot find £27 million in the budget to bring him in. And we've moved on Adam Lallana's wages off the books. We've moved on Kleiny's wages off the books. Obviously, Dejan Lovren's wages have been moved on off the books. Laruchi is going to move on, and a couple of other players as well. So it might be something that drags on a little bit. Obviously, nothing will happen with Thiago while Bayern Munich are still taking part in the Champions League. So they have, I think Barcelona, aren't they, playing next in the Champions League? So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But keep your eye on the Thiago thing, because it looks like this is going to be the saga of this summer, ladies and gentlemen. The fakir of this summer, if you will. Let me know what you guys think on Thiago, by the way. I want to dip into the chat, because I like to go, say something. Because I don't like to come on and do a stream where it's just me talking and I don't interact with you guys, because this channel has been built off interaction. So I genuinely try my best to get in to the comments. And again, just a reminder, super chats are open, super stickers are open, and of course memberships are open as well. I love Thiago, but play Keita, said Ronan Duffy. Mate, I'm fully aboard the I love Naby Keita train. You guys know that even when people were knocking him, my belief in Naby Keita was steadfast and it never wavered. I defended the guy from day one against people who were saying he wasn't good enough, and I think that he will show he is an absolute baller. We started to see the best of Naby Keita towards the end of this season, but I think if he can get through, get a good pre-season under his belt, get fit, he'll be full of confidence and raring to go next season. Puskas is a god said Tsimikas and Sarr would be a decent transfer window in my opinion. Again, I'm going to get on to talk about Sarr in a few minutes, so don't think I've forgotten about him. I still have at least two more players to talk about with regards to potential transfers, so I just want to get your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment in time on Thiago. Shay said, I really hope we get Thiago. Do you think Chelsea will get Havertz? Yes, that looks all but nailed on, mate. I mean, it just seems a matter of the two clubs agreeing a fee there. Craig, you've seen Sarr's 40 million price tag set by Watford. What do you think of it? Sean, I'll come back to that, mate, in a second, if that's okay. I promise you I do. Love the shirt, WFM, said Jay's Jolly. Thank you very much. I gave Connor his one today as well. He dropped in on his way back from work, so I quickly just gave him his shirt because he didn't get his t-shirt yet. So now we both have them, so you may even get to see a picture of Mr. Crosby in them. And the good news is that the feedback I've gotten from people who've received their Anfield Agenda t-shirts is that they're very happy with them, and that means a lot to us, because we take pride and we don't put out much merchandise. This is the first t-shirt we've ever put out, and I'm very happy with how they've come out, and I hope you guys or anyone that's bought them enjoy them as well, so thank you for that. Right, Thiago is incredibly underrated, said well hello there. Thiago was a must sign, said John Warren. We struggle to open the door sometimes, and Thiago can do that. You're spot on in what you said there, John, with regards to the capabilities of Thiago and his ability to open up a defence. He could drop back, split between the centre-backs, play that kind of quarterback position, and he can definitely pick out a pass. But as somebody pointed out earlier, so can Naby Keita. And now, look, I'm not saying that I don't want Thiago. I would love Thiago, but I'm just, again, trying to defend my boy Naby Keita a little bit. No Jamal Lewis, said Jadon. Nope, doesn't look like it, mate. Liverpool weren't willing to go up to the £20 million valuation that Norwich City placed on Jamal Lewis. So Tsimikas looks like it's a done deal, as I said. Fee agreed, medical to take place in the coming days. Care Bear said Genie will most likely go if we get Thiago. That's long been my worry / thought process with regards to the Thiago situation. So as we know, Gini Wijnaldum hasn't signed a new deal yet. There's still talks that are ongoing between the club and Gini's representatives. Klopp loves Gini Wijnaldum, that much we know. Gini seems to love it at Liverpool as well, and he's definitely somebody that's liked around the dressing room and by fans all around the world as well. So I'm a little bit baffled as to why we haven't seen an agreement reached yet between Gini's representatives and Liverpool Football Club, and I hope it does. But I've also thought to myself, is that what Liverpool are waiting for here? Are we waiting to see if Gini won't agree a new deal, and will we see Gini move on? This is an absolute, just came out of my head, no rhyme or reason to it, not read it anywhere, not being reported by a journalist or anything, but I've wondered, let's say Gini doesn't sign a new deal. Let's say for some reason he decides he wants to move on. I wondered, would there be any chance that we may see an exchange deal here? Because, let's be honest, he'd fit in at Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich would probably like a player of his quality, his experience, to go with the good youth prospects that they have there, particularly if they were to be losing Thiago. I don't know, it's just something that came into my head, but I do wonder if the two deals are linked, and by that I mean, if Gini doesn't sign, we might see Thiago. If Gini does sign, then maybe we have to fund Thiago by player sales, but again, something we'll have to wait and see. Rackshit said, I saw Thiago yesterday, he's brilliant, Liverpool have to get him. I remember reading comments from a load of Liverpool fans who were ranting and raving about what a good performance Thiago put in against Chelsea. I didn't watch that game personally, I was watching the Barcelona-Napoli game yesterday, but it does seem that he put in a very good performance. I think he was given an 8 out of 10 score in the player ratings that I'd seen. Michael Dunn said, I don't want Gini to go. Michael, either do I, mate. I love Gini Wijnaldum. Do you know what I mean? Who doesn't love singing that, man? What am I going to do if he goes? I do that about 5 times a game. So, Jadon said, where's the prize money? Mate, I'll get on to the financial aspects a little bit later on. I promise you, I do have a whole segment ready for you on that one. Joanne said, sorry for the mistake yesterday, Craig. Hey, don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us. I make mistakes every single day, Joanne. Don't worry about it whatsoever. And yeah, thank you for being in the chat again, Joanne, and for all of your dedication and support of the channel. Right, Sam Southall, how are you, buddy? Welcome in. And Sean Fernandez as well. So, Craig, I reckon we could sell Wilson for around 15 to 20 million to fund a Thiago move. I'm going to move on and talk about a couple more potential incomings, and then we'll move on to maybe ways we can fund these incomings and players that could move on from the club. That sound okay to everybody? A couple more comments perhaps. How would you feel about Coutinho coming back? Don't want them. No thank you. Pass for me anyway. What are the rumoured centre-back options after Lovren has left? There are a few, mate, but again, bear with us on that one, because the most likely one that I've seen is that guy Mondi from Real Betis, who seems to be available for about 10 million quid. He's in the last year of his Real Betis contract, and Algerian international, I think 27, 28 years of age. Wouldn't be an unreasonable amount of wages. He's also been linked with, I think, Fenerbahce and West Ham as well, and that's the only real genuine option that I've seen us linked with regards to a centre-back, other than that nonsense rumour that we could potentially sell Joe Matip to fund the move for Koulibaly, which is just complete bullshit, to be honest with you. Right, let's move on. The next player that I wanted to have a chat about with regards to potential incomings is the one that I'm sure you guys are excited to talk about, and that is Ismaila Sarr. This is one link that I believe we're genuinely going to try and make happen for a number of reasons this summer. Firstly, there's the fact that he's the type of player we need to supplement our attack. Although he's still a raw talent, there is an undoubted talent and undoubted ability there. And we know, as with Sadio Mane, that Jurgen Klopp would absolutely improve Sarr even further if he came to Liverpool. I think he's still something like 22 years of age, so still really, really young. And then there's the fact that he looks up to, is very friendly with his international Senegalese teammate Sadio Mane as well. And I'm sure that Sadio Mane will be filling his ear full of how great life is at Liverpool, how great the team spirit is, what a wonderful coach Jurgen Klopp is to work with, and will give a glowing reference of life at Liverpool. I'm honestly unsure on a potential price here. Now, I'd seen somebody in the chat mention, and I promise you I'd come back round to it, a figure of around 40 million. And that doesn't seem unreasonable for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Watford paid around £30 million for him last summer when they signed him from Rouen. And even with them being relegated, they probably will still want to make a tidy little profit on that transfer, considering he had a very impressive season in his first season in the Premier League. I mean, we only know too well as Liverpool fans how effective he can be. Scored a couple against us and set up another one in that defeat at Vicarage Road, which I'm going to just blank out of my mind. But that being said, a figure of around 40 million does sound reasonable. I've not seen that mentioned anywhere. It's just somebody in our chat mentioned it, and it kind of was around the number I was thinking in my own head. But again, we'll have to wait and see on this one. Probably another deal that would take place if we can move a couple of fringe players on. But I wanted to just bring something up on this one, and you know, I'm going to come on to it when I talk about potential players leaving, because that linked the two together rather nicely as well. And it is, Origi is the link that I'm going to try and make, Louis, so we will get to that in a second, mate. I'm just reading through your comments to see if anybody else has any other little bits on this before I move on. Somebody said the only downside is the AFCON every 2 years. You'd miss 4 to 6 weeks. Yes, that is a possibility. Now, the AFCON has been moved from 2021 to 2022, so at least we wouldn't have that headache for a year. But you are right, with potentially Sarr, Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah all going to the AFCON. I'm not sure what Guinea's situation is there in regards to qualification. I'm not sure if Naby Keita could be off as well. But yeah, that would certainly be 3 of our attacking options gone. What have we got? 35 million with add-ons. Somebody else said we should buy Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, that's just not going to happen, mate, for any number of reasons. I think Mondi will be a good centre-back, said Keen Super Games. I don't know much about the guy at all, mate. I really don't. I practically never even heard of him until I'd seen the links to him. What else have we got? Hello from the Lebanon. How are you, mate? Lovely to see you. Welcome. I hope you hit the subscribe button. Lovely to have you with us. What have we got? Day 5 in the UK. It's been the high 30s, 39 degrees, said Sam. Wow. Hasn't been that hot here in Ireland, mate, I can promise you. Right, let's move on to the last potential incoming that I have to talk about, and that is Houssem Aouar. We've been talking about this guy for a while, pretty much since David Maddock confirmed that he is on the list of potential incomings to Liverpool Football Club. This one would be a late in the summer deal. Well, I say late in the summer, probably early in the autumn deal. Things have gone fairly quiet around the Lyon player, but I wouldn't rule him out because, one, Lyon are in a bit of financial trouble. The only way they can qualify for Europe next season is by going and winning the Champions League this season, which, look, as good as they have been, looks very unlikely. We also know Jean-Michel Aulas is very, very tough to deal with, but he is a quality player and somebody who would benefit any squad that he went to. So if we are to make a move for Houssem Aouar, I honestly expect this to be one that goes right towards the end of the summer when we know a couple of things. One, we know what players will have moved on. We know what the landscape will look like in the future with regards to television money, with regards to when fans can get back inside stadiums, and a whole host of other things that could potentially scupper any deals this summer. So that's the last potential incoming I have to talk about. Not by any stretch of the imagination saying they're the only players we're interested in. That's the only ones that I have information on that I can talk about. People are saying buy Sancho and stuff like that, but look, we all know that he is most likely to go to Manchester United if he does move this summer. Now, possible outgoings, and look, again, this is just a list of a few players that I've thrown together, but there could be another 4, 5, 6 players on this list, so let's just move on a little bit. Just one thing there. Paul Greaves said, Craig, do you reckon Liverpool are getting cheap players so we can save money to get Mbappe? No. I mean, I'd love Mbappe, Paul, but I will talk about the financial aspect of the club a little bit later on. I took a couple of hours yesterday to do a little bit of research on the financial, because I'm no finance expert, far from it. I'm a fucking idiot, but I did take the time to try and get a few figures together, and so we could have a talk about where the money is, because I know that's what a lot of people like to ask. So let's move on to some potential outgoings, and let's start with Ben Woodburn. Obviously was at Oxford United, and they missed out in the playoffs, I think, didn't they? They missed out to Wickham in the playoffs, if my memory is correct. And the Daily Mail believes that Liverpool will send Ben Woodburn out on loan again next season, and they also believe that German club Fortuna Dusseldorf are leading the race to get the lad's signature. So that isn't really a surprise. I don't see a way back to Liverpool for Ben Woodburn, if I'm being honest. I mean, Oxford United, Fortuna Dusseldorf, those clubs back towards Liverpool, I mean, he's going to have to really, really turn it on and put in one hell of a performance over the course of the season to catch Klopp's eye and get a place back in the Liverpool squad, in my opinion. So, again, probably another loan for him. Now, I wanted to come back to Divock Origi, because I think Divock Origi, I think there's a couple of players that could be linked here together, and it's Divock Origi, Raheem Brewster, and potentially Sarr. And this is where my way of thinking anyway. So we know that Raheem Brewster is going to be given pre-season training camp to show Klopp what he can do and how much he's come on, and have a chat with him and see if he'll be sent out on loan again next season, or if maybe he's going to be good enough to keep around. Now look, there's no doubt in my mind about Raheem Brewster being good enough. It's just a matter of maybe one more season's loan in the Premier League, or will he stay at the club? Now, if Klopp decides that he is going to stay at the club, then that gives Klopp another attacker, but it also gives him the option to potentially move on somebody like Divock Origi. Now, people have mentioned the links of Divock Origi to Aston Villa. We do know that Divock signed a new contract, and we also know that Divock Origi has stated that he's happy to be an impact player, or a super sub, if you want to call it that, for Liverpool. But if we can move Divock Origi on, if Raheem Brewster stays, then we have Takumi Minamino as well, and we get some money for Divock, then that could lead to the transfer of Sarr that we're talking about. So maybe it will be that we have to sacrifice somebody like a Divock Origi to get in a Sarr. And in my opinion, although we probably have to stick a few quid on top of what we get for Origi, that would be a good piece of business and one worth doing, because it gives us the option of Takumi Minamino, Raheem Brewster and Sarr as backup to the front three. And I think that's more than enough options, and some good attacking young talent there as well. Of course, is Harvey Elliott, who I haven't even spoken about, and he's going to get more game time this season as well. So it will give us some good options, and most importantly for me, some really good young options to come in. I mean, our forward line are between 27, 28, 29 years of age, and these players that we're all talking about range from 17 up to 22. So the next generation, Klopp's second team almost, if you want to put it that way. So in my head, that's the way I'm linking all this kind of stuff together. But I want to know what you guys think about it. Is there any sense to that, or am I just rambling and coming up with nonsensical thoughts in my head? Keep Origi, said Michael Dunn. Sarr, we're just thinking about him because he scored 2 against us. No, we genuinely aren't, mate. There's real links there. Has Thiago signed yet? No, and he won't be signing for anybody while Bayern Munich are still in the Champions League, mate. Dylan Cooney said, if Klopp thinks Brewster is good enough, then let Origi go. Sell Divock, he's nowhere near good enough, said Shea Trainer. Gerrard will be the new manager after Klopp. I don't know. I've got a funny feeling. If I was to put money on the next Liverpool manager right now, Pep Linders, Nagelsmann, there's one or two other good young up-and-coming managers that I think would be ahead of Steven Gerrard on ability at this moment in time. But we have Klopp to 2024, and that's a very long time for Stevie G to improve his managerial CV. Right, we got 13 million for Klein. No, we didn't. He went on a free. Lovren and Lallana's... Oh, sorry, you're talking about wages. Excuse me. So SDB said we saved 13 million on Klein, Lovren and Lallana's wages per year. Chirivella was on 1.5 million a year. Grujic, Shaqiri, Origi, Wilson, who are all linked to exits, will free up about 10 million a year. Sanjay said sell Origi and sell Shaqiri. again, I would agree with both there, Sanjay. I would, honestly. I mean, Divock Origi, I think if the right offer comes in, he's available. Shaqiri is definitely available. I'd seen links ranging from Sevilla to a move to Italy. Who else? Newcastle had been linked as well before the takeover. So I think if the right offer comes in for Shaqiri, he will move on. Actually, now that I think about it, wasn't I talking about a potential move for him to Fenerbahce? I think his representatives had met with Fenerbahce and he wanted something like 50 grand a week and they were offering 35 grand a week. That's what I'd read anyway. Whether there's any truth to that or not, I do not know. Another player I wanted to talk about, and one that definitely divides Liverpool fans, is Harry Wilson. For me, this is a no-brainer. If the money's right for Harry Wilson, move him on. I don't think he's going to make it at Liverpool. Some people are talking about his set-piece prowess. I don't give a shit about his set-piece prowess. I care about what he does in 90 minutes, whether he tracks back, whether he can tuck in and defend, whether he can create opportunities. And he can't do it at Bournemouth, a team that were relegated. He didn't do that great at Derby. He had a decent enough season in the Championship, stepped up to the Premier League, and wasn't even getting a start at Bournemouth towards the end when they were fighting for their lives in relegation. So I can't see Harry Wilson making it at Liverpool. But he is available. But the club also seem to have a valuation on Wilson, which they're not moving on. So if they don't get the money that they want for Wilson, we'll hang on to Wilson, because we know that this is a pretty volatile market at the minute where players' true values might not be realised because of, the impact that COVID-19 is having on the world. So I think if we don't get the right offer, he'll stay. It's as simple as that. Or he'll be loaned back out. But Liverpool won't sell him unless they get the money that they want for him, because they have a certain number. Now, I don't know what that number is. Some people have said 20 million, some have said 25. I haven't got a clue. But what I have been reading over and over again is that there is a number, and if that number isn't reached, he ain't going to be sold. It's as simple as that. Yasser Laruchi, I've spoke about earlier on. He turned down a new 5-year contract at Liverpool Football Club. Looks like he's definitely going to move on. Where he goes, I don't know. There won't be any shortage of people that are willing to take this guy. So the only other player that I haven't mentioned yet is Marko Grujic, and he's in a bit of a similar situation to Wilson. Both will report back for pre-season. Again, I think he is available at the right price. I'd like to see him kept at Liverpool for a season and given a shot to see what he can do. See if he can learn off Fabinho. See if he can learn off Henderson, Milner and senior pros at the club. But, I can't second guess Jurgen Klopp and the coaching staff, because they know a hell of a lot more than I'll ever know about football. So it seems, again, another one that if the price is right, we'll move him on. If not, maybe another loan, or maybe he'll get the season with Liverpool. So that's all I have with regards to potential ins and outs, but there is more stuff I'm going to talk about tonight, folks. I want to talk about the financial aspect of where we are at the club, and I want to talk about the new kit as well. So I'm going to go into the chat for a couple of moments to see how you're all feeling. Thoughts on Neco Williams? Fantastic. Deserved his new contract. Definitely going to be... he's going to be to Trent what it looks like Tsimikas will be to Robbo, in that he'll push him, he'll cover for him, and they'll learn off each other. How much do you think we can get for Karius? The last figure that I'd seen was about 6 million, mate, when he was linked with a move to, was it Lorient in France or something like that? We need a new sub-goalkeeper for Adrian. Jadon, I don't disagree with you, mate, but I really haven't seen anything recently to suggest that Adrian will move on. It's very unusual that a sub-goalkeeper would get as many games as Adrian got this year because of the injury, obviously, to Alisson. So, I don't know if it's a priority for the club right now. Let's just put it that way. But I do agree with you that I personally would prefer somebody like Kikir or a good backup goalkeeper. Not good, that's very unfair to Adrian. A higher standard of a backup goalkeeper. Blakely said it'll be hard for Brewster to fit into Klopp's system. He's the type of striker that needs a strike partner. I don't know. I think you're underestimating Brewster's game intelligence. I mean, I think Klopp knows exactly what he'll do with Raheem Brewster when he comes to the club. And hey, it may even see a tweak a system for us, mate. We'll have to wait and see. Kieran said, Karius 7 million. Wilson and Grujic 55 million. I don't know about that, man. That seems a lot of money. I think Wilson and Grujic probably combined 40 million would be a guess for me. But then we could realistically sign Thiago and Sarr, said Kieran Singh. Sell Grujic, bring in Thiago, said Shea Trainer. Keen Super Game said, will Curtis Jones get more playing time this year? 100%. I mean, he's already been spoken about right across the media, right across the fan base, as basically going to be Adam Lallana's replacement, only for he'll get more game times. You won't deny this kid. This kid is quality, and he's chomping at the bit. He wants to be a regular in this Liverpool team. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be starting Champions League games. I'm not saying he's going to be playing week in and week out. But I am saying that he will be in and around the first team squad, and he will get a lot of opportunities this season. He's quality. I absolutely love Curtis Jones, and I'm sure you guys do as well. Cameron said, thoughts on Houssem Aouar? I'd love him. I've been talking about him for a while, mate. I'm actually surprised that there aren't more clubs knocking on Lyon's door, particularly knowing that they're in a bit of a financial mess trying to get the guy. So while things are quiet like that, I'm genuinely optimistic that there might be something happening behind the scenes. But again, as David Maddock and a couple of other journalists have said, he is on our list of targets that we're looking at, although he may not be at the very top of the list of priorities, let's put it that way. Right, how much transfer rumours have we had this year? A lot, but there'll probably be a lot more, Keen, because, you know, clicks, transfers drive clicks, don't they? So every website will be hounding the world trying to find every possible link for Liverpool and transfers. Right, let me move on. I said I wanted to talk about the financial aspect of what's going on at Liverpool Football Club, because one of the questions that I and other fans keep asking is, where's the money? Where has all the money gone? The prize money and the like. So I've done a little bit of digging, and this is what I found out. Now, please don't think that this is any definitive calculation of where all Liverpool's money is and what's coming in and what's going out. It's just a few little bits that I've picked up by doing a little bit of research on it. So, Swiss Ramble. I'm sure you guys know the Swiss Ramble website. If you don't, Swiss Ramble Twitter account is one of the best Twitter accounts when it comes to football finances and stuff that you will find. And Swiss Ramble reported that the Reds are in line to take home around £175 million in prize money from winning the Premier League, which is a whole lot of fucking money. Clubs have agreed to reimburse television companies some money, and it's believed that our share of that refund could be somewhere around 22 to 25 million pounds. So there you go. Initially, you see, that's money that we're going to have to pay back. I'm still baffled as to why the hell Premier League clubs are having to pay back television companies money. I don't know how they came to this conclusion, because with no fans inside stadium, my thought would have been that the demand for watching games would have increased. But hey ho, it was agreed, and that money will be repaid. It's going to be somewhere around 22 to 25 million from our perspective anyway. So add to that the approximate £30 million that Liverpool have spent in agents fees between January 2019 and January 2020. We were the highest spenders, I think, in the Premier League on agents fees. What else is there? And the projected 45 to 50 million pound losses from matchday income and commercial revenue since the lockdown took effect. Also, over the past 2 seasons, it's important to remember that we've renewed the contracts of Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, Mohamed Salah, Andy Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Divock Origi, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Joe Matip, and James Milner. Now that's a lot of players who've been given improved contracts, and deservedly so, because each one of those players have played an important role and an important part in our evolution and our success, so they deserve those contracts. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when you do give these players improved contracts, obviously the wage bill goes up, money's paid out in agents fees, there's taxes, there's VAT and all this other stuff that I probably don't understand as well. Now, some of this stuff, of course, amortization has to be mentioned, where you can spread stuff out. The players go on the balance sheet of a football club as assets, and that can be spread out over the course of the term of their contract. But how do I describe what I'm trying to say here? How many years have we had football players at Liverpool Football Club that we've brought in, developed, and then had them pinched from under our nose when they've gotten to the prime or the peak years of their career? Felipe Coutinho as an example, Luis Suarez as an example, you could use Fernando Torres as an example, Mascherano as an example. Those days seem to be gone. And it might seem like a small factor to other people, and sometimes it brushes past me as well. But the fact that we have secured all of these players on new deals, new long-term deals, that will keep them at the football club for the prime peak years of their career is a fact that can't be lost. It can't simply be just swept under the rug, because it's very good business from Liverpool Football Club. Now, there's also the uncertainty of when fans can come back inside stadiums and to what extent stadiums could be filled when they are allowed back in. Are we going to see 30%, 40%, 50%? We don't know, and we don't know when it's going to happen. And we also have no money-spinning pre-season tour this season, so we won't be off to America or Australia and playing, money or friendlies that will bring in a whole lot of money to the football club, also growing the fan base, selling more merchandise while abroad, stuff like that. Now, all of this sounds like I'm making excuses for the owners, but I promise you, that's not my intent here whatsoever, because I'm just trying to give a little bit of understanding as to where some of this money has gone. Do I want us to sign players? Absolutely, I want us to sign players. Am I a little bit baffled as to why we have no money? Absolutely baffled as to why we have no money. But what I am saying is, I'm willing to give the owners the benefit of the doubt as this window progresses. I'll make my final judgment at the end of this window. If we sit back and we make a couple of really clever signings because the financial landscape becomes a little bit clearer. I mean, I'd rather have a club that takes a slightly cautious approach and secures a financial future than a club that goes out spending like drunken sailors. It goes tits up and we end up with a load of debt on the club. That's just my view. But I do want us to make signings, and I am not an FSG apologist in any way, shape or form. I'll give you my honest views on things, but I like to try and give a balanced perspective on here, as well as, of course, my complete Liverpool bias when it comes to games and stuff. But I want us to make signings. I think it's important that we add a couple of quality additions to the group that we already have. All I'm trying to give is some type of perspective as to where some of the money may have gone, and also some of the losses that the club have incurred since the lockdown. But that being said, we have brought in a shitload of prize money. There was something like 8 million quid from winning the World Club Championship, and there was another, I think maybe 4 or 6 million quid from the Super Cup. Then there's the Champions League money and the Champions League television money, and that's all stuff that I have not mentioned because I haven't got enough information on that, but it is money. So I'm going to come across to you guys now and see what your thoughts is on the financial side of things, and see if you've got any information that maybe I've missed out on. Right, what else we got? Mbappe still on? No. What else is there? Sorry. We all know football spending and part of the budget can't stop business as usual of purchasing new players. I don't know what you mean there, mate. Sorry. Nike will surely help, yes, and the club actually seem really, really happy with the pre-orders and the sales of Nike merchandise already. I think it's exceeded what they were hoping for, and I think we'll probably see a rough estimation this year that deal with Nike could be worth something like 80 million to the club, from the projections that I've seen. So yes, that will be something that will have helped the club a little bit and will have certainly buoyed the club's finances a bit. I think Naby is going to show his full worth next season, said Jamar. 100% with you, mate. Totally agree. Final straw for me was the embarrassing furlough debacle, said Elijah John 5. That was an embarrassment. There's no denying that. That was a complete embarrassment and a complete own goal from the club with regards to the culture of our football club, the way we look after our own. And I would have rather missed out on a player and made sure that those staff were paid, if that was the case. But to do it the way we did it, it just didn't look good, and it didn't reflect well on the football club. And to say that you had a rethink, it's bullshit. Just be honest about it. You were hounded on social media, and every Liverpool fan around the world was up in arms over the furlough thing. So the PR spin that was tried to put on that was a joke. Just be honest and say, yeah, we fucked up. We know we fucked up, and we shouldn't have done it. That's what I'd like to see, but of course, that's not the world that we live in. Do you not think the Nike clothing kit is more expensive than usual? Harry, I'm getting on to that in a minute, mate. I have a whole Nike segment done out. Don't worry about that. Elijah John 5 said, I know red men aren't as fanatical as Craig. Hey, look, I don't ever talk about other channels on here, man. I don't ever run down other channels. I have nothing but respect for all the work that other channels do. But I do love that people talk about me and the terms that they say that I'm fanatical, because I am. I fucking live and breathe this shit. I love this channel. I love you guys, and I live and breathe Liverpool Football Club. So I will take that compliment, mate. Thank you. Swear we're the only club with no money, said Jake. Some clubs are taking chances, mate. I mean, let's look at Spurs as an example, Jake. They borrowed, I think, 150 million or something like that from the government. And then you've got Chelsea, who Roman Abramovich is having a big roll of the dice here and lending Chelsea even more money to go out and buy players, the likes of Werner, and although they are bringing in some money from the sales of Hazard, obviously, but they did bring in Kovacic, they did bring in Ziyech with that money. They do have money coming in from Alvaro Morata as well, so that's important to remember. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate the fact that if United are out there looking to potentially sign Jadon Sancho, Arsenal, although Willian is a free, it's still a clever piece of business from them, and they're looking at bringing in some other players as well. So we'll have to wait and see how the market works out. We love you too, Craig, said Michael Dunn. Thank you, mate. Right, let me just swap these images around for 1 second so I can put the t-shirt one up instead of the members one up. Look, if you like the Anfield Agenda t-shirt I'm wearing, folks, there is a link in the description where you can buy it directly from Teespring, and there are two options. It's available in a black colour and it's available in a red colour, and it's also available in two different styles of t-shirt. So there's the classic tee and there's the premium tee. I think there's about £3 or £4 in the difference. I went for the premium tee and it feels really good to me. I think it'll wash really well, and I think it will last. So that will be my recommendation. But hey, again, really just if you want to help out, you want to buy one, link in the description. Anyway, we move on. Right, so Nike, let's talk about the kit. And I'm a bit annoyed about this, I've got to be honest, folks. So prepare for a bit of a Craig rant when it comes to this one. Am I happy with the whole structure of the deal with Nike? Yes. I think the fact that we're guaranteed 30 million quid and we're going to get 20% of all Nike Liverpool merchandise will turn out to be a very clever piece of business. I like the tie-in with LeBron James and all that stuff as well. I like the fact that Nike will be able to open the Chinese market for Liverpool, which could turn out to be a very, very lucrative market for shirts and for bringing new fans on board and for growing the fan base of the football club. So let's start off with the positives, and that is a major one of those positives. But I wanted to talk about the new home shirt, or should I say the new home shirts, because there are two options that I'm sure you guys are more than aware of, but I wanted to just point out a few differences between the two shirts. So the stadium version, at an already expensive £70, features a stitched badge and stitched Nike swoosh and has a silver label in the bottom left hand corner. £70 to me, to the best of my memory, is at least £10 dearer than last season's New Balance home shirt, and I can't see why. Also, one of the things that we feared from Nike was that we were going to get a copy and paste shirt, and if you look around at some other shirts, it seems that we've gotten a bit of a copy and paste shirt, unfortunately. The Vapor version, which is the more expensive, or if you want to call it player version of the shirt, starts at £100. Yes, you heard me right, £100 for a football shirt, and has some distinctive differences. Firstly, the badge and the Nike swoosh. Unlike the stadium version, which is stitched, that I said to you guys earlier on, this one has a heated printed version, and it's almost like a 3D effect. So you've probably seen the images where the club badge is raised up off the shirt. Again, it looks like a rubbery kind of effect. Then there's the fact that these shirts come with a gold label on them instead of the silver label in the bottom left hand corner that you get on the fan version or the stadium version of the shirt. But most annoyingly of all for me, and this is the biggest kick in the bollocks I think for fans around the world, is that only the expensive Vapor shirt has that distinctive nip pattern that we've seen when the shirt has been advertised everywhere. You know, the little holes up along here, the little pattern that we've seen on the shirt that gives it that bit of extra textured look, and it gives it a bit of extra quality look. Yeah, well, that's only available on the £100 version of the shirt. The fan version or stadium version or whatever they want to call it doesn't have that on it. It's just a plain red one. And then finally, there's the annoying fact that there's a load of people around the world that went out of their way and pre-ordered the new home shirt and haven't gotten them yet. And I'm one of those people. Now, I don't mind that I haven't got my shirt yet. I'm happy to wait. But there are people out there with kids and stuff that thought by pre-ordering them that they'd get them, and they'd get them early, and they'd get them on the release day. That doesn't seem to be the case. In fact, some people are believed that they're going to have to wait 1, 2 or 3 weeks for it. Whereas if you had just waited, could have walked into the club shop or ordered them online on the 6th and got them delivered, or walked into a store, as I said, elsewhere. Now, I can understand people's annoyance at this. I really, really can. One other thing that's important to note is that I can't remember, going back a good few years now, any other year where when you pre-order the Liverpool shirt, you don't get a little something for ordering it from the club. You used to get a £10 off voucher that you could spend in the club store, or a scarf, or some other little bits and pieces, or a football or something. This year, even though the prices have been jacked up to £70 minimum, gone up to £100, nothing. You get nothing with your shirt other than, hey, here's the shirt, and by the way, if you order the fan version of the shirt, yeah, well, people are going to know that you didn't get the expensive one, mate, and you're not going to look like the players because of the reasons that I said otherwise. So that's my thoughts on the shirt. Do I like it? Yeah. It looks like a nice shirt. I've ordered one. I've ordered one with the gold Club World Cup badge on it. I've ordered the Champions League badges on the arms, and I'm looking forward to getting it. But I would be sitting here as a fucking hypocrite if I didn't feel for people around the world who could be priced out of this and may well be driven to buying, let's just say, other versions of the shirts, to use different terms. If you've got kids and you have to get a couple of kits for them, kit for yourself, this is going to be a very, very expensive time. And at a time where people are already on their arses because they're either laid off work or they've been furloughed and the finances in households all around the world is tight. I don't know, man. This just doesn't feel right to me that we see the Liverpool shirt starting off at £70. And that's before you add in a name and number, and that's before you put a badge on the arm, or that's before you put the Club World Cup on it. I don't like to criticise the football club. It's genuinely, I hate to do it, but I do think they've got the price point wrong on this one. That's just my thoughts. That's my thoughts on it. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section below if you're watching this back later on. If you bought the shirt, let me know which one you've bought. If you bought the Vapor version or the player version, let me know if you think it's worth the extra money. Or if you've got the regular stadium version, which is the one that I've ordered, let me know if you're annoyed about the differences or whatever. Right, what have we got? Let's go into you guys and see what you're feeling. Happily Egg said Nike should produce a red Liverpool shirt with the same symbols as the Chinese flag, a big star in the right chest with an arc of 4 smaller stars. I don't know what the hell that's about, but I'll move on. Shane said I bought the stadium one with the gold badge and the Premier League badge. Hey Craig, just joined. Any chance you could recap the transfer rumours? I'll do it right at the end, Kizzer, before I finish up, mate. So give us about 5 minutes and I'll get back to it. They need to hurry up and get the Vapor one back in stock as well, said Louis, which is the expensive version. It costs the club so much money to get enough shirts for the players that we have no money left, said F477. Did I order from the Liverpool store? I'm a bit worried because Herms, the couriers, have a bad rep for deliveries. Yes, I did, David. I ordered mine directly from the Liverpool club store on the pre-release day, the first day they went on sale. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I didn't say that for the past 2 or 3 years when I've ordered from the club shop, I have had issues with delivery. And to be fair to the club, that they have responded to my issues and they have helped out, so I will give them that credit. But I understand why you're a little bit worried, but you know, just think of the amount of volume of shirts as well that the club have to get out there. Tom Jones said, and I absolutely agree with this, no football shirt should ever be £100. In euros, that's going to be about €120, folks, for a football shirt if you're like myself and you live in Ireland or mainland Europe. I don't like the leaked away kit, said Jadon. I really like it, mate. I'm definitely going to get that kind of bluey aqua-y one when that comes out. What else have we got? I bought the £100 shirt. Don't be ashamed if you can't afford it. It's literally the same thing, said Highbrow. I could have afforded it, mate. I mean, I'm 30 quid. I could have scraped it together, but I just plain fucking refuse to pay £100 for a football shirt. There is another slight difference in the two shirts, by the way, that I forgot to mention. The stadium shirt is a bit more of a looser fit, and the player version is a bit more of a fitted fit, or a tighter fit. I should have said that as well. But yeah, I just refuse. I just refuse point blank to pay £100 for a football shirt. It'll never happen. I'll never do it. Craig, WFM meaning my bad, not being up to date. Sorry. Yes, so for those that wonder about the t-shirt and what the WFM this part means, it's the channel motto, and it was a joke that started out when we first started the channel, but it kind of grew and stayed with us. It means we're fucking massive, and when we say that, we don't mean that like we are as an Anfield agenda. We mean our community. The Reds around the world, the Anfield agenda community that's growing and continuing to grow. It's just a bit of a joke, mate. It's just a little motto for the channel, and we like that it's a bit of an inside joke and that some people don't know what the hell it means. Right, what else have we got? Fatman HD said, "Hi Craig, and I get annoyed at the prices and the chance of our away kit being copy and paste with others. PSG and Spurs goalie kit for this season has just gone exactly the same. The away kit that I've seen certainly doesn't seem like a copy and paste version, if it is the one that we've all seen leaked. Nike is bigger, more popular company, so I understand the increase in price. Sorry mate, I'm a bit confused as to how that makes any sense. I mean, Liverpool are a massive club. So Liverpool could have a fucking Umbro shirt or a Puma shirt or a New Balance shirt, a Nike shirt, an Adidas shirt. They'd still sell like hotcakes. So I don't know. I don't feel that because it's Nike it justifies a price increase, but that's just my own opinion. Should you size up on the Vapor knit jersey? That's a good question, Jeannie. It's a good question, and maybe somebody who has paid for the £100 kit could give you an answer for that one. And thank you for the super chat, mate. First one of the night, and I'm going to give Newland a little boogie just to say thank you for your super chat, mate. Newland is our little super chat mascot, by the way. As you can see, still dancing, still celebrating the Reds Premier League title win. I don't know. I probably would if I was doing it, mate, but I'm a chunky fucker, so I don't know what your build is like. But yeah, I probably would if I was doing it, but that's just complete guesswork. Maybe somebody in the chat, as I said, can help you out on that one. I think Bayern are owned by their fans too. So there's a rule in Germany called the 50+1 rule, mate, which means that fan ownership makes up, I think, 51% or something like that of the shares of a football club. I don't know the complete ins and outs of it, but it is worth having a Google to figure out what exactly the 50+1 rule is. What have we got? Scorpio FC said, £100 I would expect it to be given to me by a player at the club. Bigger company, lower price, said Carwin Williams. Awar or Thiago? Awar, probably, because of the age bracket for me, mate. You know what I mean? You're getting Thiago, you're getting an excellent player, but Awar, you could get an excellent player who's 24 years of age, am I right there? If not, you might be a little bit younger even. So on the age bracket alone, probably Houssam Awar for me if I had to pick one of the two. We need to make development of youngsters like Brewster and Wilson a priority. That means more game time. It is a priority, Gokul, I promise you, mate. You're going to see more of Harvey Elliott. You're going to see more of Raheem Brewster, whether it be even on loan. You're going to see more of Curtis Jones this season. Definitely, you're going to see more of Neco Williams. Nay said, Vapor Kit XL felt nice. Usually wear a large. So you went up a size then, Nay, on your one. Again, thank you for the feedback, mate. Considering most people in Liverpool, I'm not going to read that out. Because I don't want to give what's the phrase? Tar everyone with the same brush, mate. But what I will say is, what I think the gist of what you're trying to say is £100 is a lot of money for people around the world and in the UK who could already be struggling as families, you know, with the impact of what we're going through. I'm going to reword it to say that, if that's alright. He's 22, Houssam Awar. There you go, fuck that, I didn't think he was that young. There you go. So, yeah, even more so, I'd go with Houssam Awar then. I'm sitting here, my new Hibernian FC kit cost me £85 to £90 for the whole kit with a name and number. Says you'll never walk alone. 96. Is that, I don't know what age you are, mate. Is that an adult's kit or are you a youngster and that was the cost of the kit? But either way, for the entire kit with a name and number, you're basically getting what it costs to get a Liverpool shirt on its own. It's only 87 quid for a full top and all badges and name. No, it's not, mate. I paid more than that for the badges on my shirt, and I didn't get a name and number on the back of it, so that isn't true. I pre-ordered 2 stadium home shirts with the Premier League badges for me and my bro. Still stuck in processing after ordering last Saturday afternoon. Lots of people having the same issues. I'm part of that, mate. I have no update on my order whatsoever, other than the order email to say that I placed the order. Other than that, I've had no update on it whatsoever. The Barcelona home jersey is €140. I don't know if that's true, because, and the reason where I don't know if it's true is because I actually ordered the Barcelona away jersey, and by I mean my wife ordered it for me for my birthday directly from Nike, and it was 90 quid, €90. Now you might be talking about the Vapor version, PJ, but I went for the cheap version and it was €90, and I say cheap version, which is still mad. Who won the Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year? They haven't been given out yet, mate. What we do know is that 3 Liverpool players are up for the Player of the Year: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jordan Henderson and Sadio Mane, but they haven't been awarded yet. John Tyler said 20% of the price of the shirt goes to Liverpool and 80% goes to Nike, so the deal is that Nike makes the same profit as New Balance would have. They grossed up the price of the shirts. I just think that that's the price of Nike shirts, mate. I don't think that they're personally trying to rip off just Liverpool fans. I think that Nike shirts are more expensive across the board. Where the hell is everyone buying these tops if it's £70 to £80? Said F477. What have we got? Darlington jersey, £40, good value, said Elijah John 5. Right, to finish up tonight, I'm going to do a recap of the transfers because I did promise somebody I would earlier on. So, the potential incomings. Well, look, Jamal Lewis looks like it's out the window. We put in an offer of 10 million. It was rejected. Norwich said they wanted 20, and we moved on. And the reports that I've read suggested that Michael Edwards met with the general manager of Olympiacos when they took on Wolves in the Europa League on Thursday and trashed out a deal for a Tsimikas left back from Olympiacos for around £12 million. I think it's actually £11.75 million. And he's expected to have a medical in the coming days. This one seems to be absolutely nailed on. Personal terms still have to be agreed and he still has to get through that medical. But barring that, it looks like he will be a Liverpool player. The next one I spoke about was Thiago, and Christian Falk of Build was speaking on the LFC Transfer Room podcast, and this is what he had to say. He said, I know Klopp is interested in Thiago, but just like Werner, it's not so easy to get players at the moment. I think he's hoping that Liverpool have the money to buy him, but there's no offer on the table at the moment. Bayern said he can't go for less than 27 million. Klopp believes in Thiago. There is a connection. We know that Klopp placed Thiago's name on the board. There's not many players of the level of Thiago in midfield, so they have to do something in midfield. Thiago's first option is, of course, Liverpool. So, as you can see, Kloppo wants the player. The player seems to want Liverpool. We'll have to wait and see. Then we went on to talk about Ismail Assar. This one, I think, will be one that may depend on somebody like Divock Origi moving onwards. 40 million was mentioned by somebody in the chat earlier on. Obviously, there's the link to Sadio Mane, who's his international teammate and somebody who Sarr looks up to as almost like a big brother. So, I think he shares an agent maybe as well with... Is it him that shares the agent with Joe Gomez, or is that somebody else? Could be wrong on that one, but I think that there is legs to this one, but we might have to wait a little bit longer. With Norwich being, or not Norwich, with Watford being relegated, I don't think they'll be able to keep hold of Sarr. So I think maybe somewhere around the 40 million mark could be the figure to get him. And then we spoke about Houssam Aouar, which again David Maddox said was on Liverpool's list of potential targets, but could be something that may happen very late in the window when the pressure, financial pressure, really starts to ramp up on Lyon, particularly with the fact that unless they win the Champions League, they won't be playing European football next season. So that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's stream. Really appreciate you guys being with me. I'll be back tomorrow. I know that there's Europa League games on tomorrow, but I couldn't be arsed covering the United game, and everybody will be probably keeping an eye on that one. It'll be joining Goldbridge, I'm sure, for the United Watchalong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a regular late night agenda stream tomorrow at about 8:30 again, and then we're going to do the Wolves Sevilla game on Tuesday, because I think that's going to be a really interesting game in the Europa League. So I hope you can join me for that one. If you're with us for the first time tonight, please do hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up as well. Don't forget, if you want to have a look at the merch, there is a link in the description, and if you want to become a member, click on that blue join button as well, and again, link in the description. All our social media accounts are also in the description of the stream as well. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Anfield Agenda. Please do go and give us a follow on there. Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time as always. Appreciate you guys, love the shit out of you. Up the motherfucking Reds. I will talk to you tomorrow. Lots of love.